I'd like to start by just setting some information for you that family choice as it exists this past year in the pandemic is being discontinued. The programs that we are offering you tonight and the programs that we are describing tonight are not a response to COVID. In essence, they are a return to our pre-COVID virtual learning plan that was always in existence. We had these hopes for virtual pathways for our students, and now we are continuing back to that initial plan. So it's very exciting for us to be able to share that with you. I will have to tell you that you likely have some questions about social and health mitigations that we will be using next year. We don't have that information. At this time, we are still seeking information from the governor, of course, the state superintendent of instruction and of schools, and also the CDC. Those guidelines are still in development. So at this time, we cannot answer any information or any questions about the mitigations that we will be under in the new year. So I just urge you to kind of see this as a virtual pathway, but not necessarily something that is born from the pandemic. Our primary mode of instruction for all grades next year will be on campus, full-time, in-person learning with the one-to-one devices that we've been able to launch in the last 15 months. However, we will have 3 opportunities for virtual pathways by application only. So in elementary, it is Virtual Virginia. Virtual Virginia is a VDOE program that's been in existence for decades, but we are starting new with an elementary program. Middle school, our middle school students have been enrolled in Virtual Virginia courses in the past, but Virtual Virginia will be a virtual pathway for next year for any middle school student who by application would like to pursue virtual learning. Our high school program is very exciting because it is the Chesapeake Virtual Academy that we have built ourselves, and that is something that we intend to expand, but at this time it is only available for our high school students, grades 9 through 12, and they will take a blend of either our Chesapeake Virtual Academy courses or also some Virtual Virginia courses that will also be available. So it's very important that you see that we have 3 different plans, although elementary and middle are both Virtual Virginia. And then we have the CVA, which will be expanded in the future, but in year 1, it is just for grades 9 through 12.
Okay, thank you, Nancy. I'm going to pick up with an overview of our virtual learning program in Chesapeake Public Schools. As Nancy stated, this is a program that was in existence prior to COVID, and we've been planning to expand the program for quite some time. So we started offering online courses to students well over a decade ago. At the time, they were in high schools, high school level courses, but our goal has always been to expand the program down to the middle school and eventually the elementary school level. We really hope through our program that we can help provide students with some personalized learning experiences where students and families can have some control over the time, place, pace, and path of their learning. And so with that, we are very excited to tell you a little bit more tonight about the new virtual learning opportunities that will be available to students, specifically in grades 3 through 12 for the next school year. We're actually going to start with a quick slide about what's happening at the high school level. Tonight's webinar is focused on the middle school and elementary school virtual programs, but we know there may be some parents on here who also have students at the high school level, and we received some questions ahead of time about what are the high school options. So very quickly for next school year, we will have a virtual learning option for high school students through our own program, Chesapeake Virtual Academy. Students have actually been able to opt into this program since they selected courses for next year. Most students did that back in January and February. It is going to be an asynchronous online experience for students, which means that they will not be required to log in at a specific time or a specific place to complete their work. Students in Chesapeake Virtual Academy will be taught by Chesapeake Public School teachers, and those teachers will be available to students for online student support sessions at least twice a week in the evenings. And it is purposely designed that way because some of the students in Chesapeake Virtual Academy will only be taking some of their courses online while also taking other courses on campus. And by having teachers available to those students after school, it means that everybody will have an opportunity to make a connection with their teacher. If this is something that you are interested in, please contact your student's counselor at their home school for more information. We do have some seats still available in the program, and we certainly want to accommodate as many students as possible. So switching gears to what we're going to be offering for the elementary and middle school students next year. Our plan is to offer online courses through the Virtual Virginia program. Students that enroll in the Virtual Virginia program will do so free of charge. I'm going to be sharing some parts of the Virtual Virginia website tonight. I'm going to encourage you to go and explore that site on your own, maybe after the webinar is over. You may find on there that there is a cost for students in middle schools and elementary schools to participate in their program. That cost is being covered by Chesapeake Public Schools. So there is no charge to families who apply for and get accepted into the program. It's also important to realize that Chesapeake Public Schools students who elect to participate in the full-time Virtual Virginia program remain connected to their home school. And that means they are eligible to participate in all school-sponsored sports, clubs, and activities. As Nancy mentioned, the Virtual Virginia program has been around for many years. It is a program operated directly by the Virginia Department of Education. We have been enrolling students in their high school program for a long time, and we've done so with great success. Recently, Virtual Virginia expanded to begin offering additional courses to middle school and then this year elementary school students. And it has been a great success for them. And so that's why we're looking forward to our students participating in their program next year. Students that enroll in the Virtual Virginia program will be taught by a Virtual Virginia teacher that is hired by and employed by Virtual Virginia. That teacher is not affiliated with Chesapeake Public Schools. That teacher is not employed by Chesapeake Public Schools, and we really have no way of knowing who a particular child's teacher will be until Virtual Virginia assigns that teacher. Similarly, our students that enroll in the Virtual Virginia program will be in classes with students from around the state. So we cannot guarantee that any child in Virtual Virginia will be participating in class with students from their home school or even from the city of Chesapeake. Virtual Virginia, because it is its own program, and because it serves students from all over the state of Virginia, operates on a little bit of a different calendar than Chesapeake Public Schools does. And I'm going to direct, I minimize, I'm going to direct everyone to the Virtual Virginia website. You obviously don't have to leave the webinar, but I'm going to show you a couple things on the website tonight. First of all, if you decide that you'd like to learn a little bit more about Virtual Virginia's program and you type in Virtual Virginia into Google, make sure that the site you land on is virtualvirginia.org. There is a competing entity known as the Virginia Virtual Academy. It is a private entity, and it is not associated with the Virginia Department of Education, nor do we do any type of contracted services with them. So make sure that you end up on a web page that ends in .org. From there, you will be able to learn a lot of information about Virtual Virginia by going to the K-12 instruction tab. And I'm going to share with you right now, I've pre-downloaded it, the Virtual Virginia academic calendar. There's a lot of different colors, and it's a little bit confusing and overwhelming when you first look at it. One of the things you'll notice is there are 2 start dates listed for Virtual Virginia, August 10th and August 24th. And that is because there are some school divisions in the state of Virginia that start school very early in August. Our students that participate in the program will start on August 24th. And they would be considered in the full year cohort 2. So if you follow that through the program, you'll be able to see the calendar that those students would follow. Notably, students in the full year cohort 2 share some holidays with Chesapeake Public Schools. Virtual Virginia recognizes Labor Day, Election Day, Thanksgiving and the following Friday, Martin Luther King Day, and President's Day as holidays, and is closed. Virtual Virginia's winter break aligns with the Chesapeake Public Schools winter break schedule. And so both CPS students and Virtual Virginia students get a full 2-week winter break this year, which I know everyone is very excited about. Virtual Virginia is closed for spring break the Friday before and the Monday after Easter. Virtual Virginia generally does not close for any type of inclement weather. And I guess it's the beauty and the curse of virtual learning. And students are expected to participate in all Virtual Virginia instruction based on Virtual Virginia's academic calendar. Our students will complete next school year on May 27th. So that is the last day for CPS students participating in the Virtual Virginia program. Okay. As a VDOE entity, Virtual Virginia's curriculum, of course, follows and aligns with the state standards of learning, just like Chesapeake Public Schools curriculum does. It may very well vary in slight ways from the CPS curriculum, but there is a great deal of alignment there. The Virtual Virginia curriculum, of course, has to serve students across the whole state of Virginia. And so each individual locality is able to supplement as they wish, but Virtual Virginia sticks very closely to what is happening with the SOLs so that as students move in and out of their program, they're able to do so with ease if they transition back into their home school. We get a lot of questions about textbooks and will textbooks be required, and if so, how do students get those textbooks? The Chesapeake Public Schools will provide textbooks to any student in the Virtual Virginia program. In most cases, Virtual Virginia embeds all of their content into the course, and a textbook is not required. But in the event that one is, we will provide that, again, free of charge. Students are expected to have access to the internet and either a Chromebook or a computer on a daily basis. Students are free to use their own technology. That's not a problem, but we are also able and ready to provide students with Chesapeake Public Schools issued Chromebook and or hotspot if the student does not have access to internet. Okay, some courses that Virtual offer. We'll run through the elementary offerings first and talk about the daily elementary schedule, and then we'll jump over to the middle school offerings and the middle school daily schedule. At the elementary level, students have access and will receive instruction in the 6 courses that you see listed on the left-hand side. So math, reading, language arts, science, social studies, and STEM. And they are expected to participate in 4 hours of synchronous instruction 5 days a week. There are additional daily asynchronous assignments that need to be completed offline after the direct instruction time has ended with their teacher. Attendance is taken daily, and cameras must be on during synchronous instruction. Students that do not participate in all the required synchronous instruction may be removed from the program and will be considered truant for not participating. While students will receive instruction in the 6 different subject areas that you see listed, they will have a single teacher for all of their courses. And this is a great benefit that Virtual Virginia is providing. Of course, they believe, and we agree, that it helps provide students with a continuity of instruction and helps a lot when it comes to community building within the virtual classroom. I'm going to jump back over to the Virtual Virginia website and we'll take a look at the daily elementary schedule. And the day for elementary students begins at 8 a.m. Students are required to be logged in and they will remain logged in for the morning meeting and then their reading and language arts instruction until about 9:20 each day. And then you'll notice that Virtual Virginia has built-in 10-minute breaks between each of the courses. So after a 10-minute break, students then move to a period of mathematics instruction for 50 minutes and another 10-minute break. And then they move to half an hour of what Virtual Virginia is calling a specialty class. So that's going to be a supplemental class that will rotate each week or each day, dealing with physical activity and wellness, an introduction to world languages, dance, and the arts. After half an hour of a specialty class, students then have 45 minutes for lunch and recess. They come back at 11:45 for half an hour of social studies, another 10-minute break. They're returning for half an hour of science and then an additional 10 minutes of the closing meeting for the day. So while synchronous instruction ends at 1 o'clock every day, students will have additional work to complete later on in the afternoon or evening. That is the schedule for K through 5, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. It looks a little bit different on Wednesday. On Wednesday, students still have their morning meeting and their reading and language arts and math, but then on Wednesday, they also get a lesson in STEM instruction. And then students are done with their synchronous work at 10:45 a.m. And they have the remainder of the day to work independently, asynchronously, or they may receive additional small group or one-on-one instruction scheduled with the teacher if needed. At the middle school level, all courses offered through Virtual Virginia at the middle school level are academic, which means there are no gifted or honors level courses offered. Students must take courses in the first 5 rows that you see listed there, which means students must take a course in English, science, math, social studies, history, and then health and PE. Students that take geometry will receive honors credit for geometry, just as students that take geometry at the middle school level in all Chesapeake Public Schools. Students also have the opportunity to sign up for additional electives. You can see there are computer science electives, art, and then a survey of world language and culture, which is very similar to our exploratory language courses that students take in 6th or 7th grade in Chesapeake Public Schools. 8th grade students who are eligible in their home school to take a level 1 foreign language can do so with Virtual Virginia. They have Spanish, French, and Latin, which of course is offered to all of our students in the building, but then Virtual Virginia also offers Chinese, Arabic, and American Sign Language. In order to enroll in these courses. It's important that students meet all the course prerequisites and sequencing as required by both Chesapeake Public Schools and Virtual Virginia. Specifically, that of course refers to classes like math classes that have specific sequencing requirements, and a student cannot jump ahead in the Virtual Virginia program if they would not otherwise be eligible to take that class in their home school. The daily schedule for middle school students looks a little bit different than elementary students. At the middle school level, it is 6 hours of synchronous instruction, 4 days a week. At the middle school level, synchronous sessions are recorded, and students who are unable to attend may view those sessions later on at their leisure in Virtual Virginia's learning management system, which is Canvas. Whether a student attends the session live or if they watch the recording after the fact, they are responsible for the content presented during the synchronous sessions. The shorter day at the elementary level was on Wednesday. At the middle school level, Fridays are dedicated to one-on-one and small group synchronous instruction. Just like at the elementary level, cameras must be on during synchronous instruction. And of course, there are additional daily asynchronous assignments. So I will jump over to the secondary schedule for middle school students, and their day also begins at 8 o'clock. And they are in 75-minute classes, Monday through Thursday, where they receive synchronous instruction in English language arts, world languages and electives, social studies, and science. They have 15-minute breaks between each of their classes, and they progress throughout the day. They do get an hour for lunch from 12:15, I'm sorry, from 12:15 until 1:15. Most middle school students will end their day around 4 o'clock. There are some classes that may meet for synchronous instruction in the evening. Middle school students will not be in any AP classes, but it's entirely possible that a middle school student in a PE class or a computer science class may have to meet with their instructor at some point in the evening. Fridays are dedicated to that synchronous one-on-one and small group instruction for students, and those are scheduled as needed with the teacher. All right, so students and families that are considering a virtual option may be asking, is this right for my child? Would my child be successful in this type of environment? And the great news is, of course, a lot of students have been in a virtual environment for the last year. A lot of students have been operating in option 2, and a lot of families know whether this is something that is going to work for them. There are some characteristics of students that we know make them more likely to be successful in an online program. And there's a lot more information about this if you visit virtualvirginia.org/success. But we wanted to take a minute just to talk about the fact that students need to be, of course, self-motivated and disciplined, and they definitely have to be able to ask for help when necessary. They have to be self-advocates. And of course, for a lot of our younger learners, that means that they need some assistance from their parents, either to help them through a difficult task or for their parents to be able to reach out to the teacher and say, my child is struggling a little bit. What can you do to help us? You see on number 3 there that it's important for students to read and write at grade level and communicate effectively. Any type of online learning inevitably requires a lot of communication through reading and writing, since students don't have as much face time with teachers as they would in a brick and mortar environment. Students have to be very comfortable using the chat feature in the learning management system. They have to be very comfortable communicating with their teacher through email and communicating through those types of electronic means. Of course, parents also have a huge role in making sure that students have access to computer and internet each day. And families really should consider all of these characteristics before they make a commitment to any type of online learning program. In addition to making sure that students are logging in for their daily synchronous instruction and following up with their daily independent learning assignments, it's important for families to also make sure they are engaging in routine communication with the teachers at Virtual Virginia and a school-based Virtual Virginia mentor. We haven't mentioned the school-based Virtual Virginia mentor yet, but each Chesapeake Public Schools student that enrolls in the Virtual Virginia program will have a mentor at their home school that can help them navigate the virtual learning process. And it's really, really important that students and parents maintain close connection with not only the Virtual Virginia teacher, but the mentor at the student's home school. For students that meet the standards to participate in the virtual program, they can do so regardless of their disability status. So any students that are receiving special ed services through an IEP or Section 504 are definitely eligible to participate in the Virtual Virginia program. Virtual Virginia will honor all IEP and 504 accommodations for these students. It may be necessary for the IEP or 504 team to meet to determine if any additional special education supports would be necessary for a student to participate in this virtual environment. And if necessary, we will be able to provide special ed services to students that need them through a Chesapeake Public Schools teacher, an accredited or licensed Chesapeake Public Schools teacher. Keep in mind that special ed students may be required to participate in some additional synchronous instruction on a daily basis or weekly basis in order to meet those goals and receive those services. It's a similar situation for students that may be receiving gifted services right now. We have Andrea Barnett with us tonight, who is here to answer all questions that you may have about gifted services, but we want to make sure that students who are eligible for and currently receiving gifted services will be able to continue to receive those services in the Virtual Virginia program. Even though the Virtual Virginia classes are not designated as gifted classes, our students in the program will be able to meet with gifted specialists, and those gifted specialists will be able to provide them with some additional instruction that they would have typically received in a brick and mortar setting. Students in the English Learner or EL program are also eligible to take Virtual Virginia courses. Of course, the EL program is designed to aid students in the acquisition of English language so that they can develop the skills that they need to meaningfully communicate and successfully acquire classroom content. And just like students receiving special ed services or gifted services, these students too will be provided full and equal access to any type of services that they would be eligible for. This means they too may have to meet for additional synchronous time with an EL lead teacher on a daily or possibly weekly basis. So we know that is a lot of information that we have just given you. I'm sure many people are asking, how do I apply for this opportunity? And we have set up a website for you. The URL is listed on the screen. where you can go and learn a lot more information about the Virtual Virginia program. There are FAQs posted there, and most importantly, the application is posted there. Before applying, it's important that families understand and recognize that they are making a full-year commitment to the Virtual Virginia program. Applications are available on the website, but they should be returned to your child's school. And they can be returned to your child's school either electronically or in hard copy form if you feel more comfortable dropping them off in paper form. We are processing applications on a first come, first served basis because seats are limited in the program. It's important that we're able to budget appropriately for these seats, and that's part of the reason why we are going through this process now to make sure that we have the funding available to meet the needs of our families. And students in grades 3 through 5 are given priority at the elementary level. If you take a look at the application, it lists on the first page the criteria that will be used to evaluate each application and determine whether or not a student is eligible to participate in the program. And we're really using 3 very simple metrics. The first is where the student stands academically, and we are looking for students that have passed all of their classes in quarters 1, 2, and 3 in the current school year. And when we say passing grades in all core courses, we are referring to math, science, English, and social studies. Secondly, students have to have exhibited adequate attendance during the current school year, having 18 or fewer daily absences, which would indicate that a student is not considered to be chronically absent. And then third, of course, the courses that Virtual Virginia is offering must be appropriate for the student's course of study. And with that, I'm going to flip back to Nancy Sweat. I know she's been answering a lot of questions in the chat, and she's going to go through our FAQs and maybe provide us with some additional information. So I'll turn it back to you, Nancy.
Yes, thank you, Steve. So overwhelmingly, there were lots of questions about the application and the criteria, but you just went over those. So just to reiterate, because I saw that a lot of people had questions about the criteria, it is just those 3 criteria, which is a simple yes or no. Have they passed their core classes, English, math, science, social studies in the first 3 quarters of this current school year? Do they not have excessive attendance issues as defined by the VDOE, which is 18 or fewer in the course of a school year? And then are the courses eligible for courses eligible for what that student would be taking in person? So those are the 3 things that are the decision maker, but it is a first come, first serve. So we encourage you. The application went live April 20th, which was last Tuesday. So you can begin to complete those. And again, as Steve indicated, you are encouraged to send it directly to your principal or to even print it and then take it to your child's school. Either way is available. This webinar will be posted on YouTube, so you could go back and review all of the information we've been providing, but I just wanted to reiterate because I've seen so many questions related to the application process. Again, we had to secure funding for those students that are going to be eligible for Virtual Virginia. So it is not unlimited. So it is that criteria with a priority on grades 3 through 5, and then of course 6 through 8. So some of the frequently asked questions that we've entertained over the past week since we've launched this is, will our students be using Schoology? So Virtual Virginia, since it is a VDOE program, it uses Canvas as its learning management as its learning management system. However, your students will still be able to log on to Schoology to see school news, announcements, and groups at their home school, which will allow them to participate in clubs, activities, and various contests that your students' homeschool may be hosting. You will find out if your child has been accepted into Virtual Virginia by June 7th. That was another popular question that we've seen in the chat as far as the timeline. So the application opened April 20th and it runs, Steve, when do we close that actual window for application? That was another question.
Yeah, the window closes May 21st.
May 21st, and then you see that from May 21st until June 7th, we are going over those applications to make sure, and referring also to the timestamp. So you want to get those in as soon as possible. So those are some questions that we've seen. Will they still be engaged? Will our students still be engaged in SOL and MAP testing? Yes, Virtual Virginia as a VDOE program will engage in all mandated tests either by the VDOE or Chesapeake Public Schools. Will they have to report on campus? Students will be on campus at their zone schools to complete those standardized testing, but that will be the only time that they will be required to go on campus for that standardized testing, SOLs, and MAP testing. If accepted into the program, how can I monitor my students' progress? Well, every parent, family member, guardian will be given access to Canvas, which is the Virtual Virginia Learning Management System, as a parent auditor, which allows you to go in and see how your student is progressing in the work. If your student engages or experiences some challenges in their full-time Virtual Virginia program, we want you to know that there will be Virtual Virginia mentors assigned at each school, and those people, those teachers or counselors, whoever that staff member is, will be connecting with students to see if there are needed tutoring opportunities that your student might need to have or benefit from. Also, there could be opportunity for small group with social and emotional learning support. We know that that has been a very heavy burden on our students during the pandemic. And then we will also help our families as well. That person will also act as a liaison to help our families navigate virtual learning and just have somebody at the homeschool to help them. So all of that is in place, and you will know who that is after June 7th if accepted into Virtual Virginia. How do you contact your Virtual Virginia teacher, knowing, of course, that that is not going to be a CPS teacher? You will be able to speak with that person by phone, by email, and you can even set up a virtual conference, a video conference as needed. So they will be available to our families and our students if needed. How do you get tech support for any virtual learning that you're doing in Virtual Virginia? We will have staff available to assist you if you encounter any issues with the CPS issued devices, such as the hotspot or the Chromebook that the student will have. Virtual Virginia also has tech support if it has to do with their learning management system, or if it has to do with their synchronous classes where you might engage in issues, and that is available Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. And of course, you will have that information as a Virtual Virginia student once accepted after the June 7th notification. Why are we prioritizing grades 3 through 5? Well, CPS believes strongly that our youngest learners benefit from in-person due to the hands-on nature of learning at the primary level. However, K2 students may apply, and we will see on a case-by-case basis if it warrants the acceptance into the Virtual Virginia program. And again, first come, first serve. So even if you are in K2 and interested, you would need to apply as soon as possible. Can my child switch back? We're actually making an investment in Virtual Virginia, which is a year-long program. So we need our families to understand that it is a year-long program in the beginning. We know that this past year has been very different than that as far as a request to move back and forth, but that was under the model of family choice. And this is not a family choice situation. This is just a virtual pathway for our students in Chesapeake by application.
Okay, thank you, Nancy. And I see that there were several questions in the Q&A that were answered through those FAQs. We want to leave you tonight with a snapshot of where we hope the virtual instruction program is headed over the next 2 to 3 years. And as mentioned at the beginning, we plan to expand Chesapeake Virtual Academy down to the middle school and elementary school level in the coming years. High school students, of course, are eligible to take classes through Chesapeake Virtual Academy in the coming school year, the 21-22 academic year, followed by middle school in the 22-23, and then elementary school in the 23-24 school year. So what we are doing with Virtual Virginia right now, we really hope and anticipate that it's going to be a short-term program until ultimately we are able to begin offering online courses to all of our students with Chesapeake Public Schools teachers. Tonight, I visited the Virtual Virginia website, and I encourage you to go there and learn more information. Please, as I noted earlier, making sure that you're on the correct website, the one that ends in .org. The second website that you see listed there is the website that Chesapeake Public Schools is running for students and families interested in the Virtual Virginia program. That is also where you can access the application if you're unable to find it on your home school's website. If you have additional questions, the first person to reach out to is going to be your homeschool counselor and or principal. And if that person is not able to assist, please feel free to reach out either to myself, and my email address is listed there, or to Ms. Sweat, and her email address is provided as well. Tonight's webinar has been recorded and will be posted to the Chesapeake Public Schools YouTube channel on April 27th. So hopefully it will be there tomorrow if you would like to take the time to come back and watch it a second time. And we thank you all for joining us tonight.